What's going on, guys? It is middle of August. Deer season is almost here. Been doing some prep work all day, working on some food plots, checking cameras, searching the trees for some good acorns, and just getting that time of year, getting ready, getting excited, practicing a lot with my bow. Alright, so just thought I would make the second part of this shot breakdown video from my 2020 hunts. I got 3 more shots, 3 more hunts that I wanted to show y'all, and 2 of them are actually the bucks that I killed last year, and then one of them is a doe that I killed late season. That was a pretty crazy blood trail on that deer. Alright, so diving into the first hunt is from November 16th. It was when we were up in Kentucky. I'm hunting in the same bottom that I hunted in the year prior, right down the creek. There's a big hayfield out to the side, creek, woods over here on this side, and just hunting the edge of this big cedar bottom all right there in front of me, and up to my right was a big cedar thicket. It was just ridiculously thick, and had seen a bunch of deer that morning. It was like 25 degrees. The temperature had really dropped. It was Monday at this point, so I don't think there was much pressure from anyone else hunting around in the area. And about 8:30, 2 hours after daylight or something like that, and I just look up at about 40 yards, and there's a shadow walking behind the trees, and I can tell it's pretty big. And stick my head out around the tree that's like right in front of me, blocking him, and I just see a rack, and I see like G2 and a split, and I just picked my bow up, knew it was probably gonna be a pretty good deer. And so I grabbed my camera, and I thought I was gonna end up shooting him like out in front of me, like 18, 20, 22 yards, something like that. And he ended up getting right on top of me, and he never stopped. He just like walked straight to me, and I just kind of put the camera close to where I thought it would be and drew, and then he kept on coming right up to me. And he was still quartering a little bit hard when he stopped the first time, but he was scanning up under me, and I had the wind in my face. He never looked up at me. He never noticed. I was in a pretty good hickory tree, I think it was, and had a cedar tree that was like growed up within like a foot of it. So I had all this cedar branches coming behind me like I was in a cedar tree. And so I let him take a couple more steps, and then I stopped him when he got broadside, and I was pretty much shooting like straight down on him. You can tell by the video that it was very hard angle. I think he was at 7 or 8 yards, and I just put it pretty much on the top of his shoulder, kind of trying to shoot under his shoulder blade a little bit. Wasn't aiming that high, and just squeezed it off, and I mean it just stuck him hard. And you can see when he runs off, there's maybe 6 or 8 inches of the air sticking out, and he made a little half circle, went about 40 yards, and stopped right there, and then stood there for about 5 seconds and fell over. And it went all the way through him. It even busted out the rib cage on the bottom side of him behind his armpit. You can see in the video when I walk up on him, underneath his armpit right here, there's a bulge, and that's where the broadhead poked through the rib cage. It just didn't come out the skin. So he only had one hole on this side, on the entry hole, and bled that much. It was incredible. So the second hunt here takes us to only 6 days later. It's November 22nd. We're back here in Georgia, on one of my pieces that I have, and I had a really good scrape that, for whatever reason, I don't really know, the deer just traveled through here. I was actually hunting there. Blades was my #1 deer. I ended up missing him out of that stand November 5th, and then something happened to him middle of November. Never saw him again. And the only other deer that I had in there that was, 3 years or older was Tank, and he was a big 9-pointer. I'd seen him for about the past 2 or 3 weeks, and knew he was a good deer and one that I would shoot. And I was just sitting there, and had a doe and a spike come in front and behind me, and this deer just popped up out of the bottom right in front of me. I went over there and worked that scrape, and I was gonna shoot him at 40 right there, because I thought he was gonna keep going and walking and not come back and give me another shot. But fortunately he did turn around. I really don't know why. Like I said, they like to meander around in that pine little hill or whatever, for whatever reason. he ended up working his way, and I thought he was going to go left or right, one way or the other, be it like 30 to 35 yards. And then I'm sitting there messing with the camera, you know, trying not to mess up like I did, you know, the week earlier, and missed the shot. And so I saw him going back and forth, and then it looked like he was coming at me, and I was like, oh no, he's going to come right on top of me right here. So I backed the camera all the way out, set my pin on 20, and just drew back. And I didn't know if I was going to stop him or if he was going to stop, and luckily he cleared enough of that cedar tree for me to be able to get a shot, and put it right on the inside of his shoulder and squeezed it, and it stuck him hard. More than half of the arrow went in there. I'm shooting a big Rage Trypan, so a little over 2 inches, and it just ate him up. I know a lot of people, there's big debates on, you know, fixed blade mechanicals. You know, you get a whole lot more shots out of a fixed blade than a mechanical, you know, vice versa, all that back and forth. And I don't know, I don't mind buying a new set of broadheads every year if it tears deer up like that one was tore up, because that was a hole the size of a baseball was in the front of that deer's chest, and he went nowhere, and it turned his heart to jelly, just about. And all the arteries and stuff coming up out of it and into going up into the neck and the head, it took all of that out, and that deer went nowhere. So definitely learned a little bit from both of those hunts. Obviously backing the camera out was a big thing on the hunt for Tank that I learned the week before, because when you're editing video down and all that stuff, you can crop in part of the video whichever side you want, however you want. The deer don't have to be right in the middle of the frame. So as long as, you know, you're not all the way zoomed out and he's 80 yards over there, you know, you should be able to crop in and get pretty good footage, and with pretty good quality as well. All right, so on my last hunt here, it was December 28th, and a couple days after Christmas, got me a brand new camera arm right here. I got a fourth air camera arm, a whole lot lighter, whole lot easier to work with, to deal with, than that big giant Muddy that I had. And I wanted to kill a deer with it. I wanted to kill a deer with my new camera arm for the season went out. So I was hunting really hard. And you can tell by the background and some of this footage right here, there's not a leaf on any tree around anywhere. So everything's exposed, everything's wide open. You can see for a mile in the woods in every direction. And you know, these deer are used to being hunted at these food plots. At this point, 3-4 different deer had been shot at this food plot since September. So they were definitely skittish of it. And this afternoon, fairly mild temperatures, you know, high 30s, low 40s, somewhere in there. And had a little baby come up working down the road, heard something over my right shoulder, looked over, another little baby and a grown doe coming with her. And so had to sit there and be really still and let this deer work by me, because she knew I was there. For sure, and she had to walk within 12 or 15 yards of my right side to get out here in front of me. And so I just sat really still. Knew I wasn't going to be able to, you know, get her on camera with the big camera until she got on out in front of me and got some of that junk in the way and was walking away from me. So something I've picked up on, it's kind of stupid. I don't know if anybody else does it, probably not, and probably think I'm crazy for doing it. But anytime I think I see a deer looking at me or about to bust me or something like that, I always close my eyes and just look away from them and just calm and focus on my breathing. I've noticed that, you know, when you're in a intense hunting situation of a deer you want to shoot and they pick you out and you start breathing heavy, and then you're moving even more, breathing heavy, and I feel like they pick up on your eyes and your eyes blinking as well. Because with this deer right here, I watched her multiple times throw her head and kind of look towards me, and I would just close my eyes and I would wait to hear her take another step. And I did this 4 or 5 times. The video right here, it took her 12 minutes to walk from over my right shoulder to get out here in front of me where I got a shot. It took her 12 minutes to cover 30 yards. So that just shows you how cautious she was and how she took her time. So anyway, she finally gets out in front of me, and there's some birds and stuff out there feeding and making a bunch of racket. So when she's looking away and the birds are kind of stirring, I draw back. Sure enough, she did kind of hear it or know something happened or whatever, and she turned around and looked right at me. And so I did rush a little bit. I'm not blaming that on the shot. The shot was a little bit low. It was about 2 or 3 inches lower than I would have wanted it. But with that being said, I had already missed a couple deer this year with shooting over their back, them ducking the string right out of the way, and beating me. So I didn't want that to happen with this deer, and so I made sure I held pretty low on her. And even at 26 yards where she was when I shot, she still had time to react and dropped about 2 inches, which ended up working out perfect for me. So I was kind of worried that I didn't make that great of a shot on her, that it may have been a little too low. But after getting down, looking at the air, following the blood, it ended up being an awesome shot. If you watch the video, there's a picture of her heart at the end, and you can see where it cut 2 big slits in the bottom, the tip of her heart down there, and she bled like crazy. It was one of the most insane blood trails that I've ever seen. So I hope y'all enjoyed this little flashback of my hunts from 2020. All 3 of these videos are on my YouTube channel. They're the last 3 that I posted on there, other than the first shot breakdown video. So if y'all want to go check those out, the hunt for Tank is awesome video, and then the blood trail of the doe is pretty good as well. It's pretty insane. So I appreciate all the support.